Sometimes in life you work hard for something, you plan, you pray, and you hope with all your heart, but despite all your effort, it doesn't happen. You may try again and again, only to find the door still closed. In that moment, your heart may feel heavy, confused, or disappointed. You may begin to question yourself, thinking maybe you are not good enough, maybe you failed, maybe Allah does not hear your prayers, or maybe the world is moving forward while you are stuck. It is natural to feel frustrated, discouraged, or anxious, but the reality is, life has many layers that we cannot see, and sometimes what we perceive as failure or a closed door is actually a sign of Allah's protection. There are things, people, situations, and opportunities that we are not meant to enter, because if we did, they would harm our faith, our peace of mind, or our future in ways we cannot imagine. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, blocks certain paths not to punish us, but to safeguard us. He sees the invisible dangers, the hidden consequences, the unseen traps, and He chooses to shield us from them. Sometimes the very thing we long for, the opportunity we chase, the path we desire, may contain harm that we cannot yet recognize, and Allah prevents us from stepping into it because He loves us and knows better than we do. We often judge our lives by what we can see. We measure success by what we achieve and failure by what we do not get. But the unseen world works in ways we cannot perceive. Allah knows the hidden intentions of others, the consequences of events, and the realities of situations before they happen. He knows what will strengthen our hearts and what will break them. He knows what will bring us closer to Him and what will distance us. And when He blocks something in our life, it is a subtle yet powerful sign that He is protecting us. He is covering us from what we cannot see and what we cannot handle at the moment. What feels like rejection or failure may actually be a form of mercy, a shield that prevents harm, a barrier that keeps you safe from experiences that would hurt you more than you realize. Life is full of paths we cannot fully understand, and timing is often a test of patience. Sometimes we ask for something eagerly and sincerely, yet the answer does not come immediately. We may feel overlooked, impatient, or doubtful, but Allah's wisdom is perfect. He knows when we are ready and when we are not. He knows what is beneficial and what is harmful. He knows the hidden realities that we cannot perceive, and in His mercy, He chooses to close certain doors. That closed door might be preventing you from walking into a situation filled with heartbreak, betrayal, loss, or spiritual decline. Allah's protection is always active, even when we cannot sense it. We may never know what would have happened if the door had been opened, but we can trust that His decision was perfect. When you reflect on moments in your past where something you wanted deeply did not happen, you may now recognize that it was a blessing. Maybe a relationship that ended unexpectedly, a career opportunity that slipped away, a move you wanted but could not take. All of these moments, though painful at the time, may have been Allah shielding you from harm. You may never know exactly what the danger was, but the protection was real. Allah does not delay, prevent, or block out of cruelty. He does so out of mercy, love, and foresight. And sometimes the most significant signs of Allah's protection are the things we do not get, the doors that remain closed, and the paths that do not align with our desires. In these moments, patience, gratitude, and trust in Allah become the most powerful tools for understanding His mercy. It is also important to realize that protection does not always come in the form of what we can see. You may not have a clear sense of why something was blocked, and you may feel the absence of explanation. That is part of the test of faith. Belief in Allah's wisdom requires trust in His unseen plan. He knows what we do not know. He perceives the risks, the hidden intentions, and the subtle consequences that our limited vision cannot grasp. The things we pursue with determination may have contained heartbreaks, moral compromises, stress, danger, or negative effects on our faith. When Allah prevents us from entering that path, He is preserving our soul, our future, and our peace of mind. And that is a form of mercy that often goes unnoticed, because it is silent and unseen. Our hearts often desire immediate results, visible signs, and clear answers. We want reassurance that our efforts are fruitful, that our prayers are answered, and that our desires align with divine will. But Allah's protection is often quiet and subtle. It works in the background, shielding us from harm before we are even aware of it. It prevents us from situations that might cause regret, pain, or spiritual damage. It keeps us from opportunities that could lead us away from our purpose. And although we may not understand in the moment, this protection is a reminder that Allah is always watching over us. He is aware of every step we take, every choice we make, and every desire in our hearts. His care encompasses both the seen and the unseen, the known and the hidden. When you look back on your life, you may realize that some of the things you once desired did not happen for reasons that were ultimately in your favor. You may reflect and see that the closed doors, the missed opportunities, the setbacks, and the delays were actually shields that kept you safe. Sometimes what you perceive as failure is really mercy in disguise. Allah's protection is perfect because it is based on infinite knowledge, complete wisdom, and deep love for His servants. You may never know the full story of what you were saved from, but the protection is real. The timing, the outcome, and the hidden consequences are all in His hands, and trusting in Him brings peace even in moments of confusion or disappointment. Your trust in Allah grows stronger when you recognize that His protection is continuous. It does not stop when a single door is closed, when a plan fails, or when a relationship ends. It continues throughout your life, unseen yet constant. Allah is always guiding, always shielding, always protecting. You may not be aware of the spiritual battles, the hidden risks, or the dangers that you are spared from every day, but every closed door, every delayed answer, and every blocked path is a testament to His mercy. It is a reminder that you are never alone, that Allah is always watching, and that He is always protecting you from what you cannot see. And when your heart understands this truth, it begins to rest, even in the uncertainty of life, knowing that the unseen protection of Allah surrounds you at all times. Sometimes in life, people leave our lives in ways that hurt, confuse, or surprise us. A friend may disappear, a relationship may end, or someone you trusted may suddenly be gone. At the time, it may feel unfair, painful, or even cruel. You may ask yourself, why did this happen? Why did Allah allow this person to leave? But what we fail to see in those moments is the unseen protection Allah places in our lives. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. Not every connection is meant to continue. Sometimes Allah removes people from our lives to protect us from harm that we cannot yet recognize. Their departure is not necessarily a punishment or a loss, it is mercy in disguise. Allah knows what is hidden in the hearts of people. He sees intentions we cannot perceive, motives we cannot guess, and consequences we cannot anticipate. By removing certain individuals from your path, Allah is shielding you from potential pain, betrayal, or spiritual decline. We often forget that people can have hidden motives or bring harm in ways we cannot foresee. We only see their words, their smiles, or their actions on the surface. But Allah knows what lies beneath. He knows who will help us grow and who will hinder us. He knows who will strengthen our faith and who will weaken it. Sometimes the person who leaves was carrying seeds of doubt, gossip, dishonesty, or bad influence that could have affected your heart and your life in ways invisible to you. And when Allah steps in to remove that person from your life, He is protecting your faith, your peace, and your future. The removal may feel harsh in the moment, but in reality, it is a divine safeguard, a sign that He is watching over you with love and wisdom beyond your understanding. It is natural to feel grief, sadness, or longing when someone leaves, but part of faith is understanding that Allah's protection sometimes comes through absence. Just because something feels painful does not mean it is harmful. Just because someone leaves does not mean the world is against you. It may mean Allah is aligning your life in a way that preserves you from greater harm. When we trust Allah in these moments, we begin to realize that every ending may also be a beginning, a redirection towards something better, safer, or more beneficial. The departure of a person can clear the path for someone else, or for an opportunity that aligns with your purpose and strengthens your heart. Sometimes, reflecting on your past reveals the wisdom of these removals. A person who once caused confusion or stress, who perhaps sowed doubt, left at the perfect moment, and you later see that their presence could have created long-term harm. Perhaps a friendship ended, but in hindsight you realize the connection was pulling you away from your faith, distracting you from your goals, or introducing negativity into your life. That quiet removal was a sign of Allah's protection, unseen, subtle, and perfect. It reminds us that not everything we experience is meant to be understood immediately. Some signs are meant to be recognized only after the outcome has passed, when our hearts can perceive the wisdom behind the divine protection. When someone leaves your life unexpectedly, it is also an invitation to reflect on yourself and your own growth. It encourages you to focus on what truly matters, on relationships that nurture your faith, and on connections that uplift your heart. Allah removes not to punish, but to redirect. He removes not out of anger, but out of mercy. And while we may feel temporary pain, that pain is a shield against greater harm. A person leaving may save you from heartbreak you cannot yet foresee, from betrayal, from compromise of your values, or from distraction from the path Allah wants you to follow. It is a reminder to trust His wisdom, to trust His timing, and to trust that what remains in your life has a purpose for your ultimate good. Life teaches us that closure, endings, and separations are often blessings in disguise. A door that closes, a friendship that ends, a connection that dissolves, all can be signs that Allah is protecting you from what you cannot see. When the heart feels heavy and the mind questions, remember that Allah knows the unseen realities and is safeguarding you. Sometimes what appears as loss is actually preservation. Sometimes what feels like abandonment is actually protection. Your job is to remain patient, trust His plan, and look for the signs of barakah that remain. Allah's unseen hand is guiding you, protecting you, and ensuring that your heart, mind, and soul are preserved from harm that you may never fully understand. The removal of a person is rarely random. It is intentional, merciful, and perfectly timed by the one who knows all things. There are times when we make plans, work tirelessly toward goals, and hope with all our hearts that things will go our way, only to have them crumble unexpectedly. A project may fail, a job opportunity may vanish, or a plan may fall apart despite your best efforts. In the moment, it feels like loss, injustice, or disappointment. We ask ourselves, why did this happen? Why did Allah allow this to fail when I worked so hard? But what we often fail to realize is that these moments are not always setbacks. They are sometimes a form of divine protection. Allah knows the unseen, the paths we cannot anticipate, and the hidden consequences of the choices we make. What seems like a failure may actually be a barrier, preventing us from something that would have caused harm, pain, or loss in ways we cannot yet comprehend. When a plan collapses, it may feel like the universe is against you, but in reality, it is Allah redirecting you. Sometimes, a job that did not come through would have led to an environment filled with stress, injustice, or moral compromise. Sometimes a relationship that failed would have exposed your heart to betrayal or disappointment. Sometimes a project that collapsed would have pulled you away from priorities that were truly meant for your benefit. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, blocks paths, not to punish you, but to preserve you. He protects you from harm that you cannot see, from consequences that you cannot anticipate, and from people whose intentions are not aligned with your growth. While our minds focus on the visible outcome, Allah is orchestrating the unseen events, arranging life in a way that is safest and most beneficial for us. It is easy to feel frustration when things do not go as planned. It is natural to compare ourselves to others who seem to achieve success effortlessly, to feel impatience when doors remain closed, and to question why Allah is allowing obstacles in our way. But what we often forget is that timing and protection are deeply intertwined. Not every opportunity that appears desirable is truly good for us, and not every door that seems closed is a denial. Sometimes, a delayed blessing or a failed plan is exactly what prevents us from walking into something that could have broken us emotionally, spiritually, or morally. The collapse of a plan is not always a punishment. It is often a shield, a mercy, a quiet form of protection from Allah that is meant to preserve your heart and your future. Looking back, many of us can recognize moments when failure or disappointment actually turned out to be a blessing. A job we didn't get may have prevented years of stress and unhappiness. A failed relationship may have saved us from heartbreak, betrayal, or emotional compromise. A missed opportunity may have led to a better path we could not have imagined at the time. Allah's protection is subtle, often invisible, but profoundly effective. He knows the full story, the hidden consequences, and the unseen outcomes that our limited perspective cannot perceive. And in blocking certain paths or allowing plans to fail, He is ensuring that we are kept safe even when we feel hurt or disappointed. There is also a spiritual dimension to these moments. When a plan collapses, it teaches us patience, reliance on Allah, and detachment from outcomes that are beyond our control. It is a reminder that our efforts, while necessary, are not the only determining factor in our lives. Allah's wisdom governs the outcome of every situation. He allows some things to succeed and others to fail, not based on our abilities alone, but based on what is best for us, spiritually, emotionally, and morally. Trusting this process builds a heart that is resilient, content, and anchored in faith. It reminds us that while we strive and work, the ultimate control belongs to Allah, and His knowledge surpasses everything we can see or imagine. Sometimes, a failed plan or a lost opportunity is actually an invitation to reflect on our path and our intentions. It may be that Allah is guiding us to something better suited for our growth, a plan that aligns with our purpose, or an opportunity that brings more barakah into our life. The moment of failure is never meaningless. It is often the beginning of redirection, a signal that there is something greater ahead, something we are not yet aware of. Allah's protection manifests not only by keeping us from harm, but also by preparing us for better outcomes than we could have anticipated. When a plan fails, it is not the end. It is the beginning of something new, a redirection by a wise and loving Creator who knows what is truly best for His servant. Understanding this changes how we perceive obstacles, disappointments, and failures. Instead of feeling defeated, we can begin to see these moments as signs of Allah's mercy. Instead of being consumed by frustration, we can develop patience and trust in His timing. Instead of questioning why life is difficult, we can reflect on the possibility that we are being protected from unseen harm. Every collapse, every delay, every failure is an opportunity to recognize Allah's presence, His wisdom, and His mercy. And in that recognition, our hearts find comfort, our minds find clarity, and our souls grow stronger. The plans that fail, the doors that close, and the paths that crumble are often the quiet ways in which Allah shields us, protects us, and ensures that we are kept safe from what we cannot yet see. One of the most misunderstood forms of protection from Allah is delay. We ask for something sincerely, we pray with hope, and yet the answer does not come immediately. We wait, and the waiting begins to feel heavy. Our hearts grow restless, our minds grow anxious, and sometimes we question why Allah is taking so long. We wonder if He is ignoring us, if our efforts are in vain, or if our prayers are unheard. But the truth is that delay is not denial. Delay is protection. Delay is a way in which Allah shields us from what we are not yet ready for, from what could be harmful, or from what might come too soon. Allah's timing is perfect. He knows the readiness of our heart, the state of our soul, and the circumstances of our life better than we ever could. What feels like waiting is often a period of preparation, a quiet time in which Allah is arranging the pieces so that when the blessing arrives, it comes fully and in the right moment. Sometimes the thing we pray for is not harmful, yet the timing is not yet perfect. Perhaps we are not emotionally ready, spiritually prepared, or mentally strong enough to handle what we ask for. Allah knows the wisdom of perfect timing. He knows when we can truly benefit from the answer, when it will increase our faith rather than distract us, and when it will bring contentment rather than hardship. Delay, in this sense, is not a sign of neglect, it is a sign of care. It is a reminder that Allah's protection is subtle and precise. While we might see our lives as a series of unmet desires, delays, and setbacks, Allah sees the complete picture, the hidden outcomes, the unseen consequences, and the perfect moment for everything to arrive. Waiting is part of the divine design, and learning to trust it is part of our spiritual growth. Delays can also protect us from paths that seem attractive but would ultimately lead to harm. Sometimes we desire things that appear good on the surface but contain risks that we cannot see. A delayed answer may save us from emotional distress, financial loss, spiritual compromise, or personal suffering. Allah prevents us from walking into situations that could be harmful, and His wisdom surpasses our understanding. We may not recognize the benefit at the moment, but in hindsight, we often realize that the delay preserved us from experiences that would have weakened our hearts, distracted our minds, or pulled us away from our purpose. The unseen protection is active, and every delay carries an intention of mercy from Allah. Waiting patiently in the delay is a form of worship in itself. It teaches us reliance on Allah, strengthens our trust in Him, and develops patience in our hearts. Patience is more than merely enduring hardship. It is the conscious recognition that Allah is aware of everything, that He is arranging every detail of our lives, and that His plan is far greater than anything we could imagine. While we wait, our hearts can grow closer to Allah, our understanding can deepen, and our gratitude can increase for the blessings already present in our lives. Delay is not empty time. It is sacred preparation. It is a space in which we learn to depend on Allah rather than solely on our own efforts. It is a period in which unseen protection shapes us to be ready for the blessing when it finally arrives. Sometimes the answer comes in a completely different form than we expected, and the delay was necessary for that transformation. What we prayed for might arrive in a way we could not have anticipated, better, safer, or more beneficial than what we imagined. The delay allowed us to grow, to be ready, and to recognize the blessing when it came. Without the waiting period, we might have rushed into something unprepared, and the outcome would not have been as fruitful or beneficial. Allah's protection is precise, and His timing is perfect. Every delay, therefore, is a sign of His care, a whisper of His mercy, and a reminder that our hearts, lives, and futures are being guarded in ways we cannot see. Delays also teach us humility. They remind us that we are not the ultimate deciders of our lives, that our control is limited, and that we must place trust in Allah's infinite knowledge. When prayers are delayed, it is an invitation to surrender, to recognize that Allah knows better than we do, and to trust that what He withholds is not meant to harm us, but to preserve and protect us. Every moment of waiting carries hidden mercy. Every unanswered prayer carries unseen protection, and every delay is a shield that keeps us safe until the right time comes. Recognizing this truth fills the heart with peace, softens the mind, and strengthens faith, because we begin to understand that Allah's protection is constant, precise, and perfectly timed. There are moments in life when you feel an unexplainable calm, a peace that seems to come from nowhere, even when everything around you is uncertain or chaotic. You may not know why your heart suddenly feels light, why your mind stops racing, or why a sense of reassurance washes over you in the midst of confusion. That calmness is not random. It is a sign of Allah's protection. It is a reminder that unseen forces are guarding you, shielding you, and surrounding you with mercy that you cannot see but can feel. Often, we search for signs in grand events or extraordinary circumstances, yet the most powerful signs of Allah's protection are quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. A moment of inner peace, a sudden relief from worry, or a gentle feeling of security in the heart can all be messages from Allah telling you that you are protected from something unseen, something that could have caused harm, but from which you have been shielded. This unexplainable calm is often accompanied by a sense of presence, not a physical presence, but a spiritual one. It is the presence of angels, the presence of divine protection, and the assurance that Allah is watching over you. Angels descend to the hearts of those who are being protected, bringing tranquility, guidance, and support. They are present in ways we do not perceive, intervening in the unseen, preventing harm, and maintaining balance in our lives. When your heart feels peaceful at moments that seem inexplicable, it is a subtle sign that Allah's angels are near, that the barriers around you are intact, and that the divine wisdom is working behind the scenes to safeguard your life, your heart, and your soul. Sometimes this protection manifests in the small things: doors closing, people leaving, opportunities not happening, or plans failing. These events may feel negative at first, but they are often the very mechanisms through which Allah is keeping you safe. The unexplainable calm that follows is a sign that His mercy is at work, that the unseen is working in your favor, and that you are being preserved from what you cannot yet comprehend. When you trust this calmness, when you allow your heart to rest in it, you are acknowledging that Allah's protection is greater than your understanding, that His wisdom surpasses what you see, and that His love surrounds you in ways that are invisible but real. This calmness also teaches gratitude and reflection. When you feel protected without knowing why, it is an opportunity to pause, to reflect on the blessings in your life, and to recognize Allah's mercy in ways you may have overlooked. It invites you to become more aware of the signs around you, to pay attention to the subtle guidance, and to develop a deeper connection with your Creator. By noticing this calmness, you cultivate a heart that is attuned to divine protection, a mind that trusts in Allah's timing, and a soul that feels safe even in uncertainty. The protection of Allah is not always dramatic or visible. Often it is quiet, gentle, and deeply reassuring. It is in these moments that the heart learns to trust, the mind learns to surrender, and the soul learns to rest. Life is full of situations we cannot fully understand. We may face obstacles, challenges, or dangers that are hidden from our eyes. We may never know the people, circumstances, or events from which we were saved. Yet, the unexplainable calm is a sign that Allah is constantly working on our behalf, preventing harm, and guiding us toward what is best. It is a reminder that even when life feels uncertain, even when our plans fail, even when our hearts are heavy, we are never alone. Allah's protection is always present, even when it is invisible. Trusting in this protection brings peace, strength, and reassurance. It reminds us that the unseen world is real, that Allah's mercy is constant, and that He surrounds His servants with care beyond imagination. Finally, this calmness encourages faith and reliance on Allah. It teaches that protection does not always come through visible means, and that not every sign is loud or dramatic. Sometimes the most profound protection is silent, subtle, and internal. When your heart experiences that quiet peace, know that it is a gift from Allah, a sign of His attention and a reflection of His love. Trust that He is shielding you from harm, guiding you through the unseen, and orchestrating your life with wisdom far beyond what you can see or understand. Recognize the calmness as a divine sign, hold on to it, and allow it to strengthen your faith, deepen your gratitude, and bring comfort to your heart. In the unseen protection, in the quiet reassurance, and in the divine care that surrounds you, Allah's mercy is evident. He is protecting you, guarding you, and covering you for a reason that may remain hidden for now, but will ultimately reveal His wisdom and love in the perfect way and at the perfect time.